Ritter showing. I mean, the idea of an Iranian woman showing her belly in public was unheard of even a year ago. Intelligence services have been seeking to exploit the fractures that exist in Iranian society, mainly ethnic fractures. You have Azeris in the north, you have the Kurds, you have Arabs, you have the Baluch, you have also ideological, the MEK, the monarchists. There's significant fractures inside Iran, that the Islamic Revolution has been struggling against and struggling to overcome since 1979. And the intelligence services are aware of these fractures and they seek to exploit them. They until the most recent events, the most dangerous effort took place in the summer of 2023. I remember talking to President Raisi in September of 2023, where he said that, the struggle that Iran went through was the most dangerous struggle since the revolution, that, the intelligence services, had made deep inroads and had created, an environment where people were questioning the legitimacy of the theocracy. But the struggle actually allowed the Iranians to unite. I think the majority of Iranians recognize that Iran is better off with a government of its own making, however imperfect it is, than they are about having foreign entities impose a government on them. And the Raisi said that Iran was stronger. The current Iranian president, Pezeshkian, I met in September of last year, and he said the similar thing. So the Iranians knew this was here. These intelligence services have been very successful over the years in recruiting people and having them deeply in bed inside Iran. We saw that with the whole drone operation that took place during the 12-day war, where suddenly secret drone factories emerged out of nowhere, and these cars were driving around launching drones. This happened right under the nose of the Iranian government. Now, the Iranian government was able to roll up this network, but the implication was, and the former Mossad director Cohen hinted, he said, "We've got more up our sleeve." I think this was it. The international foreign intelligence services orchestrated a monetary crisis, a collapse of confidence in the Iranian crisis that led to legitimate demonstrations in the street. And for 2 days, the Iranians went to the street peacefully, and the Iranian government let them demonstrate. And then on the third day, these cells were activated. And this is where the violence began. The idea was to generate so much violence that they hijacked that the regime would be compelled to respond. And then the orchestrators would be able to hijack this. And at the same time, there would be airstrikes that would suppress the government's ability to react. And this would allow a revolution to take place. And they got almost to that point. The problem was the Iranian government nipped it in the bud sooner than they were supposed to because of effective intelligence. The Mossad and MI6 and the CIA made extensive use of Starlink as a mechanism of communication. Why? Because it's outside of the Iranian internet infrastructure. The Iranians have put in a kill switch and have had a kill switch for some time in their internet where they could shut it down to, fight the ability of these foreign-backed entities to communicate internally. And so to overcome that, and this is something that happened in the summer of 2023, is that the Iranians were very effective in shutting down these cells because they could control the internet connectivity inside Iran. So Starlink was supposed to solve this problem. The trouble was that these same intelligence services have been using Starlink to extensively in Ukraine. Use it to guide drones, use it to communicate, to create communications on the front lines. When the Ukrainians went into Kursk in August of 2024, the connectivity they had, the real-time connectivity, was all powered through Starlink. And the Russians were quick. I remember talking to Abdi Aladinov about this, and the Russians learned that Starlink was a problem. So the Russians developed two unique capabilities. One is to track Starlink at its source and at its destination, meaning that if you use Starlink, the Russians are able to tell, what the point-to-point connectivity is and where it is geographically. And then the second thing is to shut it down. They have a kill switch. They can knock it out. That's how they drop drones, because these drones are using Starlink and the Russians just kill it. They provided this technology to the Iranians, and the Iranians use it to good effect. They were able to monitor real time the communications being received by these Mossad, MI6, CIA operatives from their controllers overseas. Not only were they made aware of the orders being given, but who was receiving the orders and where they were located. And then what they did is they went in and they rolled them up and they shut it down. And now the Mossad and MI6 and the CIA, they can't talk to anybody. This is why you saw this huge thing. Why are the Iranians shutting down? If they say they're not murdering these people, why are they keeping the internet shut down? Well, they're keeping the internet shut down because they don't want the CIA, the Mossad, and everybody else to communicate with what's left. They're taunting what's left. And very effective. At last gasp desperation, the Israelis sent huge packages of Starlink upgrades because maybe they thought, maybe there was a glitch. So let's send them new Starlink modules. And the Iranians were monitoring that, and they rolled it up and they captured it all. And because of this, they shut it down too soon, and the airstrikes didn't happen. And so there was a gap, and that's why they ended up not launching the airstrikes, because the airstrikes were no longer linked to activities on the ground and would be ineffective. The Constitution that we took an oath to uphold and defend allows for, when the United States enters a treaty that's been signed by the president, ratified by 2/3 of the United States Senate, that treaty becomes the supreme law of the land. And the United Nations Charter falls within that category. So for all the Americans out there who belittle the Charter, say it doesn't matter, you're saying the Constitution doesn't matter. You literally are saying that. And that's what the president has said, that international law doesn't matter. He takes no guidance from international law. And this isn't just the Charter. This is the Geneva Conventions. This is everything that makes civilized society globally civilized. And the president has walked away from that. Look, the Iranians aren't perfect. They'll be the first ones to tell you. I mean, I remember President Pezeshkian saying just that. We have problems, he said. But he brought up something interesting. He said in 2023, one of the major issues we had was that the women of Iran were frustrated with the fact that they had to wear the hijab, that they felt so constrained. Today in Iran, the women don't wear the hijab if they don't want to wear the hijab. If you go to northern Tehran to the shopping center, you'll think that you're in Los Angeles because the hair is undone, flowing. Midriffs are showing. I mean, the idea of an Iranian woman showing her belly in public was unheard of even a year ago. Today, it's not totally common. It's there. You see the why? Because the Iranian government is a democratically elected government that listens to the will of the people when the will of the people is legally expressed.